There's a power that doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It moves in silence. It observes before it acts. It calculates, not out of coldness, but out of precision. This power isn't about muscles or brute force. It's about minds. And the greatest minds throughout history, the ones who led revolutions, commanded armies, built empires, even seduced entire nations, didn't do it by being loud. They did it by being dangerous in silence. This is Machiavellian intelligence. And when it's understood, not abused but truly mastered, it becomes the invisible thread that makes people follow you without even knowing why. Niccolò Machiavelli was never trying to create monsters. He was trying to reveal the truth about human nature, what people really respect, what they respond to, and what they will never admit out loud. He understood that influence isn't about being liked. It's about being respected, and often, being slightly feared. In a world where everyone is performing for approval, Machiavellian intelligence gives you the ability to move the strings behind the curtain. You don't need to scream for loyalty. You simply become the person whose presence changes the atmosphere, the one who controls the pace of the conversation, the one people watch before they speak. To become that person, you need to understand the first rule. People follow confidence, not truth. They're not moved by the facts, they're moved by the feeling. If you want people to trust your vision, your authority, your decisions, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be certain. Speak with the tone of someone who's already decided. Move with the conviction of someone who doesn't second guess. Doubt is contagious, but so is certainty. And when people feel your certainty, they align with it, not because they understand it fully, but because they're drawn to the strength behind it. That's how influence begins, not with data, but with dominance of presence. But confidence without control is reckless. And that's where Machiavellian intelligence separates itself from mere charisma. You don't just want people to listen. You want them to be unable to imagine not listening. That kind of pull doesn't come from dominance alone. It comes from mastering perception. You must become a mirror, reflecting back what people want to see while slowly leading them where you want them to go. People don't follow leaders because they're ordered to. They follow because they feel seen, understood, and important. When you make people feel like they're choosing you, while you've already chosen the outcome, that's power. Here's the truth most people miss. The real game isn't about control. It's about control while appearing effortless. People should think they're in control, even as you quietly steer the wheel. That's Machiavellian. You let others speak first, not because you're uncertain, but because it gives you the map. You ask questions, not to learn, but to see where their mind lives. You appear open, not to be influenced, but to study their vulnerabilities. When they feel heard, they soften. And in that softness, they become persuadable. Not because you imposed your will, but because you let them feel like it was theirs all along. This is the art of strategic silence. Most people can't stand it. They rush to fill gaps, overshare, over-explain. But silence? It creates tension. It draws people in. When you learn to hold silence, you create space for others to reveal themselves. And in that space, you gain more than their words. You gain access to their insecurities, their ambitions, their weaknesses. The Machiavellian mind doesn't waste words. It studies the silence. Because the one who speaks less sees more, and the one who listens more learns how to lead without ever needing to say, "Follow me." But make no mistake, this intelligence isn't about manipulation for the sake of harm. It's about mastering human behavior so you're not at the mercy of it. It's about knowing that emotions rule people, and whoever controls the emotional climate controls the outcome. Want to make someone loyal? Don't argue. Validate. Reflect their values. Speak their language. And then, with subtle precision, guide them toward yours. Want to earn respect? Don't demand it. Become the standard. Show restraint when others lash out. Show clarity when others are chaotic. Let your emotional control unsettle those who are used to emotional chaos. People trust calm under pressure. They follow what feels stable. And if you become that, unshakable, composed, consistent, you become the gravitational force they orbit around. One of the most dangerous traits of Machiavellian intelligence is its invisibility. The world sees your results, but not your strategy. That's the beauty of it. You're not loud. You're not flashy. You're precise. You move without leaving fingerprints. You make decisions without leaving trails. You create loyalty, not through commands, but through quiet, psychological leverage. And the more subtle your power becomes, the less people question it. Because to question you would mean questioning what they've emotionally committed to. People don't like cognitive dissonance. If they've decided you're trustworthy, competent, or worthy of following, they'll protect that belief, even from themselves. This is why image matters. Not just in how you dress, but how you carry yourself. Every word, every pause, every glance tells a story. Do you hesitate when challenged? Do your eyes dart when you're questioned? Do you speak as if asking permission or making a statement? People read you faster than you speak, and their subconscious decides if you're dominant or submissive, leader or follower, threat or background noise. Machiavellian intelligence trains you to control that narrative, not by lying, but by managing perception, by knowing what version of you each room needs, and delivering it without ever losing the core of who you are. But here's the catch, and the reason most people never master this art. It requires discipline. It requires emotional control. It requires sacrificing ego for effectiveness. You don't get to react. You don't get to win every argument. You don't get to prove your point just to feel superior. Sometimes, you let others have the last word, because the long game matters more. Sometimes, you let someone believe they're leading, because their ego is your vehicle. Sometimes, you play the fool, because the fool learns more than the one who thinks they know it all. You see, people crave leadership, but they distrust authority. That's the paradox. So, if you want people to follow you without resistance, you can't appear as a threat. You have to become indispensable. Not through force, but through value. Make yourself the person they can't replace. The one who solves problems, who stays calm in storms, who knows what to say when others are lost for words. That's influence. It doesn't need a spotlight, it needs results. And don't mistake kindness for weakness. True Machiavellian minds know that strategic kindness disarms suspicion. It builds trust, but it's not performative, it's intentional. You give not to be liked, but to position. You support not to be praised, but to anchor alliances. You uplift others not because you need their approval, but because building strong allies is smarter than creating weak enemies. Your kindness is real, but it's not blind, it's calibrated. As you develop this intelligence, you'll notice something else. The more you detach from needing validation, the more influence you gain. When people can't figure out what motivates you, they're intrigued. When they can't provoke you, they're unsettled. And when they realize you don't need them, you choose them, they respect you. That's how you become the person people want on their side. Not because you demand it, but because your presence upgrades the room. This isn't about being cruel. It's about being clear. It's about understanding that in a world full of performance, the one who masters psychology wins, not by tricking people, but by knowing them better than they know themselves. Machiavellian intelligence isn't about domination. It's about understanding. You understand their fears, their hopes, their desires, and you speak directly to them. You don't manipulate. You guide. And in doing so, you become the architect of outcomes while others are reacting to chaos. So the question isn't whether this intelligence works, it's whether you're ready to handle it. Because once you develop it, you can't unsee the game. You'll notice the masks people wear, the patterns they fall into, the emotional buttons they don't even know they have. You'll see through charm, through outrage, through flattery. And while others are distracted by noise, you'll be building your empire, move by move, unseen but unforgettable. In a world that rewards loudness, be the silence that shakes the room. In a world that's addicted to being seen, be the presence that's felt. Influence doesn't come from shouting. It comes from shaping perception, from understanding that people don't follow orders, they follow energy. And if you master yours, they'll follow you without ever needing to be told. So detach from the need to be liked. Detach from the urge to over-explain. Detach from the illusion that power needs to be visible to be real. True power is quiet. It's strategic. It's internal. And once you own it, no one, not friends, not enemies, not even fate, can take it from you. If this spoke to the part of you that's been quietly studying, quietly rising, then you already know the power you hold. Don't waste it. Master it. If you're building a version of yourself that can't be shaken, then join the journey. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's keep exploring the deeper layers of human behavior, strategy, and self-mastery. Influence isn't given, it's crafted. And now, you hold the blueprint.